Well, hello, everybody. This is Jack Canfield. You can probably see me in the upper part of your screen. I'm really excited to have you all here. People signing in from all over the world, numerous people from India and Croatia, Germany. I just wrote some of these down: France, Spain, New Guinea, Russia, India, Finland, Nigeria, Kosovo, Brazil, the Philippines, Canada, the UK, Albania, Ireland, New Zealand, Thailand, and Malaysia. Belgium, Nicaragua, the Dominican Republic, Sweden, Namibia, Czech Republic, Denmark, Pakistan, Bangladesh, still coming in, Switzerland, Greece. I love it. You can keep typing that in. And people will see where you're coming in from all over the world. I'm really excited to be here. We're going to start now. We have, right now, we had about 20,000 people pre-registered for this call. There are several thousand on right now. The numbers keep climbing up. I look at my screen. So really excited about that. We are going to be doing some wonderful work here today, and I'm really excited that you're here. So as I said, welcome from me to you from all around the world as you continue joining us. I will just ask you to keep introducing yourself, say where you're from. Naples, Florida. I spent some time there. Kauai, I love that island. Long Beach, California, not far from where I am. Germany, done a number of presentations in Germany. So really exciting to see you all here. The numbers keep climbing up. Anyway, what's going to happen today is I'm going to ask you to keep signing in and let us know where you're from. That's great. It's very exciting. So anyway, what's going to happen? I'm going to start by just sharing with you some housekeeping, I guess, suggestions or rules for, excuse me. Again, keep signing in. I love it, watching the numbers climb here. It's very exciting. So I wanted to talk about how to get the most out of this training. So if you're already here, I'll leave the slide up for a few seconds as people are joining us. Make sure you have a pen or a pencil handy. Be sure, if you haven't already downloaded and printed your break-free PDF training guide, as you'll see the cover there on the left-hand side of the screen. If you haven't got that, you can just go to jackcanfield.com/handout. You'll be needing one of the pages at least for recording your experience through the main exercise that we're going to do today, which is a removing blocks exercise, so worksheet found on page 10. Some of you got the handout before it was paginated, so you just have to count in there. It sits at the top of the page, identifying and removing blocks worksheet for this date. And also, there's a link to the guide in the chat. If you still need it, you can just click on that and get it as well. People have asked, how long will this training run? It'll be about 60 minutes. We might go over by 10 minutes, something like that. I doubt that it would be any more than that. And after after the call, you will receive a replay link. So if you want to do the exercise again, we're going to be doing one core exercise 3 times over the course of this 3-day training that we're doing. And you can work on different areas of your life where you might feel stuck. And also I'll be sharing some new ideas in addition to the exercise each time, some ways to maximize your ability to take what you're learning today and actually move it into practice so you get the results in your life. Also, we'll be doing a guided visualization process in the middle of this. It's going to require your full attention. So if you can, please go to a quiet place where you won't be distracted or tempted to multitask. This is not something you want to listen to while you're doing your emails today. The closed eye process is very, very, very important. It is the core of what we're doing today to help you get in touch with limiting beliefs that are, for most of you, you're not even aware you have. They're subconscious limiting beliefs that were formed in your life between the ages of 3 and 8 years old. Now, if you're unable to participate fully, my point would be you could simply listen, but make sure to come back for the replay, which you'll get an email, which will tell you how to access that and do the guided visualization process. And finally, don't participate in the guided visualization process while you're driving, obviously, because it's a closed eye process. Even if your eyes are open, it has a certain kind of hypnotic, how should I say, impact. If you're driving or operating machinery, you could go into a hypnotic state, which would not be safe for driving your car. Okay, Also, as we go through the training, there's going to be some polls. Occasionally, I'll ask you a question, like the one you see up there. So, looking at the wheel of life, which area of your life are you most satisfied with? And then you'll basically take your cursor and you go over on the poll. This is just an example. This one doesn't work right now, but it'll be coming up in a minute. And just click on if it was financial for you, or work or career, or health or fitness, or relationships, whatever it is, you would just click on that. And then we'll find out the answers to all the people who are, in fact, answering the poll questions. And what else? So some of you, you don't, some of you have been invited here by your friends. You may not know who I am. I don't want to spend a lot of time talking about me, but I will give you a little bit of a sense of who I am for those who may not be as aware of that. I'm Jack Canfield, obviously. Uh, some people have dubbed me America's #1 success coach. I love doing this work. I've worked with thousands of people one-on-one, and I've worked with literally millions around the world. I've spoken in workshops in over 50 countries. And what we're finding is what's stopping people from succeeding in life. They have the intention, often they know what to do, but they're not doing it. And it's being stopped by fears, and it's being stopped by limiting beliefs, which we're going to focus deeply on today. And also sometimes you just don't know what to do. So obviously we want to have you have all of that happen for you today as well. And I'm the author of over 200 books, Success Principles, Dare to Win, The Power of Focus, 200 plus Chicken Soup for the Soul books that have been sold over 500 million copies around the world. And I've been conducting trainings for corporations, for our public trainings, Breakthrough to Success, Train the Trainer Online, One Day to Greatness, our luxury retreats for executives who want to take their life to the next level. So work with entrepreneurs, with athletes, professional athletes, college athletes, Olympic athletes. And when we remove these limiting beliefs, all of a sudden performance jumps. We're working with one person with this process I'm going to share with you today, who is doing very, very well as an amateur athlete, and really targeted for the Olympics in 2020 in Japan. And yet whenever she would get into competition, her times were never as good as they were when she was practicing. It turned out when this process was used with her, she discovered that her mother, when she was a child, would always hide her trophies and her ribbons. And she was always wondering why. And she found out through this process that her mother had told her when she was younger, every time you win and you bring home a trophy or a ribbon or a medal, it makes your brother feel bad. And so she had developed the limiting belief that it wasn't okay to win, because when you win, it makes people you care about suffer. And this was totally unconscious. And once that was cleared and replaced with the new belief, she started performing in competition the same or even better than she was doing in practice. So this is what's possible for you today. I'm really excited about this. We've created millionaires, a couple of billionaires. We've done all kinds of work with helping people create the marriages and the relationships they want, overcome limiting chronic illnesses that had beliefs associated with that. So today is a day about getting unstuck. I'm excited that we'll be doing this. So the first question we're going to have a poll come up on, if we can bring that poll up, is, have you read the Success Principles book? And all you have to do is answer yes or no. And we'll see here, we're very quickly getting some answers. I'm going to just wait for about another 3 or 4 seconds. So more people saying no than yes. So one thing I would recommend, not because I need another $1.20 per book, which is the royalty I get, but I would really like to see you have the success you want. And I believe this book is really a blueprint for success. And a lot of people have called it the Big White Bible, in the sense that it is kind of the Think and Grow Rich for the 20th century. So I really encourage you, after we get off this call, if you've not read the Success Principles book and you want to have the 10 core principles, what are 64 principles in the book, to actually actualize what you broke through in terms of limiting beliefs today, just go to Amazon.com or BarnesandNoble.com or any of the local bookstores you have, get a copy of the Success Principles. And as we go through this 3 sessions over the course of the next couple of weeks, I'd really encourage you to read at least the first 25 principles. It will really, really help you, I promise you. So make sure to go ahead and do that. All right. So there's the results. And you can see that there's still a lot of people that need to read that book. All right. So the second thing I want you to do is to this next principle, how do we get to the stop? There we go, is to answer the question, have you been to one of my trainings? So I can see how many of you have actually been with me live. So if you just answer that real quick, it'll give me a sense of who we're working with today. I love how fast this populates. So cool. Modern technology. All right, so again, about maybe 6 of you, something like that, have been to trainings with me. Well, welcome back. And for the rest of you, welcome to today. And so if you get a chance, you know, in the future, obviously, we'd love to have you join us. Okay, good. That gives me a sense of who's here. So I'm going to close that screen now. And then let's talk about why we get stuck for just a moment and why we're doing this process today. What happens is there are 3 things that basically stick people. Number 1 is fear. There's fear of failure. There's fear of loss, like loss of money, loss of income, loss of your job, loss of credibility, loss of face, you know, all of those kind of things. And so fear is a big one, but we'll talk about this a little more in one of the next calls. There's a couple ways to get past fear. One is to just do feel the fear and do it anyway. In other words, you just, so what, you're afraid, you know, you do it. If you're coming on the on-ramp of a freeway, you might be a little nervous at the time, but you just start doing the best you can and you merge into the traffic and there you are. Everything you do that you're afraid of and you survive, you develop self-confidence and you have less fear. And most of our fears are created by imagining things that haven't happened yet. So we can replace that by imagining what we want. So I'm going to talk about that and go deeper into that in one of our next calls. The second is not knowing what to do. You're literally ignorant of the process. You have to learn, perhaps it's internet marketing, or you have to learn how to do a webinar or a podcast, or you have to learn how to, you know, what are the basic skills of a coach, whatever it might be. In football, you've got to learn all the different plays. You have to learn the blocking and tackling and faking and all this kind of stuff. And so if you don't know what to do, then we need to go out and learn it. And we'll talk more about that in the future call as well. But today we're focusing on limiting beliefs. And most of your beliefs are things that happened to you when you were between 3 and 8, and then you formed a belief based on that experience, an experience of rejection, an experience of failure, an experience of embarrassment or shame or being ignored or having something bad happen to you you didn't want to have happen to you, etc. And so basically, these are the 3 causes of why we get stuck. And today we're going to focus primarily on limiting beliefs and identifying and removing them. Now, as part of your homework, I asked you to fill out your wheel of life. And there are 7 areas in the wheel of life that we focus on: financial, work and career, health and fitness, your relationships, recreation and free time, personal development, and community, a contribution, what contribution you want to make to the world. And so, you know, I went on to our Facebook group and I looked at a lot of your wheels of life that you posted up there. And I would say that for the majority of you, the biggest area of challenge was financial. We'll check that out today again. Here's an example of what a wheel of life might look like for somebody: doing real well in community and contribution, real well in health and fitness, not so much in personal development, work, career, financial, not doing all that well, recreation, free time, relationships. So basically, what I'd like you to see is the areas of your life kind of equal and obviously out here more, so that you are succeeding in all the areas of your life, having great, vibrant health, your work and careers fulfilling and meaningful and successful. You're making an adequate amount of money to do the things you want to do. You're contributing to the community. You're growing yourself. You've got great relationships, and you have a lot of free time to do what you want. And so what you might want to look at today as we go through this is pick the area where you feel like you have the least amount of success. If that's where you'd like to improve. Some of you may say, you know, I'm just not that interested in financial. I'm much more interested in getting my books published or my poetry published or my coaching practice full, because I really love to do it. So you can pick one of these areas today that we're going to work on. And this wheel of life exercise was just to help you get clear about that. So we're going to do another poll just so we know here, which area of your life are you most satisfied with? There you go. And so go ahead and just click the area you're most satisfied with at this point in time. We'll kind of see where you are and see where there's a need for growth. I see a lot of you are very committed to personal development. That seems to be working for you. That's great. And as I said before, financial seems to be a real challenge for a lot of people, working career. Free time, I find it interesting. One of the things that we'll talk about perhaps later is that the more free time you take, especially if you're an entrepreneur or solo entrepreneur, the more this stuff actually improves financial, work, and career. There's a whole reason for that, which we can go into a little later. So a lot of people are not taking the time they need for themselves, and the result of that actually shows up in these areas as well. So, okay, good. Thank you very much. We'll stop that. And there you see what's happening there. Very good. And then I'm going to ask a second question, which is, oops, I went the wrong way. Stay with me here. What area are you least satisfied with in your life? So just very quickly click on that. The area where you feel you're least satisfied, you're not getting what you want. And again, we see financial trending. Financial, work, and career, health and fitness, relationships. Okay, not doing so well. Very good. I'll just be up there for again. Okay. So we see here that a lot of challenge in finance and work and career. Okay, good. So we'll definitely be addressing that today as we go through this seminar. Thank you for sharing. All right. Very good. Okay, so what I want to do with you is actually get into the exercise here. I'm going to take well, I'll stay on the screen for this, and once we start the exercise, I'll remove myself so I'm not a distraction for you because your eyes are going to be closed. But let's just talk about this as we're moving into this a little bit. The basic idea is we want to discover what was the event and what is the limiting belief that we decided as a result of experiencing that event. And what is really important is for each of us to be able to identify something that's unconscious. And we're going to do that by starting by identifying a part of our body where we feel the most tension and pain. I'm going to describe to you the process. And then once I describe it, then I'm going to have you do it with me. And then I'm going to have you record on your worksheet, the Identifying and Removing Blocks worksheet, what your experience was. And the process of actually doing it and then writing it down is very, very important. And then I'm going to have you, if you want to, share with us in the chat here and also in our private Facebook group, which we'll tell you how to get to. Many of you are already there, and thank you for all the posts. Very fascinating and very helpful for me in preparing for this call, all the things you shared. And so what's going to happen is we're going to have you close your eyes in a few moments, and I'll ask you to scan your body from your head down to your toes. And I'll ask you to notice where in your body do you feel the most tension or the most pain or the most numbness. Numbness is numbing out the pain or the tension. And so it's just closing down on it so strong. And but you'll find, don't do it yet, but you'll find a place in your body where you'll notice maybe across your shoulders and your stomach and your legs, you know, band across your head, wherever it might be, that there's the most tension or pain. And then I'll ask you to begin describing that sensation. How wide is it? I'll ask you a bunch of clarifying questions. How wide is it? How thick is it? Is it dry? Is it wet? Is it warmer or colder than the rest of your body, etc.? And it's just to focus your attention on that specific experience, the sensation and the shape that it is. What shape is it? Is it square? Is it long? Is it circular? Is it like a spider with legs coming out? And then I'll ask you to notice how you feel Actually, let me back up. The first thing I'll ask you to do is to notice what is the area in your life where you're feeling stuck, and what is the feeling you have about feeling stuck. So let's say you're saying, my main place of feeling stuck is in my um, financial world. I'm not making the money I want. So I'll ask you, is there something you want to manifest that you're not manifesting? Is there something that you seem to not be able to create year after year after year, like an ongoing relationship or a good job or clients, filling your coaching practice, whatever it might be? And then how you feel about that. Is it resignation? Is it hopelessness? Is it fear? Is it anger? Is it sadness? Whatever it might be. And then I'll ask you to scan your body and to find that place where it feels tense or tight or painful or numb. And then inside that sensation, I'll ask you, is there a feeling inside there? And quite often you'll be able to just feel there's a feeling trapped inside this sensation, because we tend to shut down on these feelings and not really fully have expressed them. And then I'll ask you to go back to the earliest time you can remember feeling that same sensation and that same feeling. Most of you will go back to somewhere between 3 and 8 years old. We've had people go back to when they were 24, 21, 18, but most of you between 3 and 8. This is when we decided if we were smart or not, if we decided if we were attractive or not, where we made decisions like it's not okay to ask for what we want, where it's not okay to stand out, not okay to ask for money or have money, or any number of things that will show up for you. And then I'll ask you, where are you? How old are you? Are there other people there? What's happening? Is there something happening you want? Is it something happening that you don't want? Is there something you want you're not getting? And then I'll ask you to notice, did you make a decision at that moment in time that's still limiting you? And what's the belief you took on? What is that limiting belief or that limiting decision? And then I'm going to ask you to go back as your current adult to that young child that you were and actually give them some advice. Help them understand that maybe this wasn't personal, that they, that sometimes our parents, we think our parents did it because of us. And the fact is they would have done it to anybody because of what they were experiencing. So have them to start sharing with them the wisdom you have now as an adult about that event. I want you to also look at, is there something that as a result of that event where you develop certain qualities like perseverance, courage? For me, when I first did this kind of process, and I talked about this in the video that got most of you here, is I decided I'm not worthy of love. And so therefore, my whole life became around proving I was worthy of love and attention and support and encouragement, acknowledgement and approval and all that. And so that led to, producing hundreds of books and, doing seminars all over the world. But it was also a cost in terms of not being home, not being as good a husband as I could be, not being the greatest father I could have been at the time when my children were younger. And so we'll look at what qualities you developed, and is there something, like maybe you had an experience that led to your choice of career because something happened to you, you made a career choice that you didn't want that to happen to other people. And a lot of people who are, trainers and coaches and so forth, often codependent, making other people's needs more important than your own, is what developed that career you have. So the good part of that is that you now have that career, but the reality is you also are paying a price for that. And then I'll ask you to also think about, is there some person that you need to forgive as a result of that experience? Perhaps your parents, perhaps kids in the class, perhaps, a grandparent, an uncle, a teacher, a coach, a minister, whatever it might be. Because ultimately, we want to get you back in your heart, so your heart and your intuition can lead you into the expression of who you are and what wants to manifest through you as your craft, as your profession, as your creativity that's being stopped by these limiting beliefs. And when your heart is open and the beliefs are gone, you always know what to do. You always know who to seek out, when to shut up and not talk, when to speak, when to ask for what you want. You get back into that childlike state of wonder. And, when I was a kid, I wanted to climb on everything, drive the car, push the lawnmower, whatever. So we want to get back to that This is called pristine, childlike, wonder-filled approach to life that doesn't have all these limiting beliefs stopping us. And then I'm going to ask you at that point to have your adult interacting with the child that you were, the younger person you were, and come up, what's a new, more empowering belief other than the one that was limiting you? And then I'll ask you to go into the future and become your 85-year-old wise, enlightened self. And from that space, advise the you that's sitting in a chair or wherever you are right now, the age you are. What advice could this 85-year-old enlightened being that you have the capacity to access right now, because that wisdom exists in you, what advice would he or she give you about this starting issue where you feel stuck? And then you'll listen to that, and then you'll come back to your current age. Then I'll ask you to open your eyes and I'll ask you to write down what you experienced. So that's the process. So I'm going to take me off the screen so I'm not, what's the word, distracting you. And what I'd like you to do right now is to simply get comfortable in your chair or on the bed or the floor or wherever you're sitting or lying down, and make a commitment to stay awake. Make sure your cell phone's off, your computer beepers, to let you know that you got an email or a text. If you could mute those, and then get comfortable and close your eyes. And I will tell you that for some of you, as you're sitting there with your eyes closed, that as we do this process, you may have an experience of something uncomfortable, a memory that was painful may emerge. And I want to advise you that what's coming up is coming out, meaning that whatever it is that you might experience, if it is a little uncomfortable, know that it's on its way out because you're experiencing it and observing it. The way to allow something to merge into release, dissolve, if you will, is to simply experience it and observe it. If feelings do come up and you feel like you need to cry or you need to, whatever, then just give yourself permission to do that. Most of you, that won't be that intense, but if it does happen for you, just know that it's okay. It's normal, and it's healing. It's moving out of you rather than something that's going to stick around. All right. So take a few moments to just focus on your breathing. Allow yourself to inhale deeply and to notice what you're experiencing as you inhale as deeply as you can, maybe to the count of 6, and then go ahead and exhale to the count of 6. It's usually a good rhythm for the breathing. And just take a few more what we call deep cleansing breaths. And let's just do a very brief relaxation exercise. Just notice as you are breathing in and out very slowly, long, deep breaths. Just notice if there's any tension in your face. Just let that relax around your eyes, around your jaw, your mouth. As you take your next breath, just notice the muscles in your neck. And as you take your next breath, just notice the muscles in your shoulders. And if there's any tension there right now, just let them go. Relax your shoulders. And become aware of the muscles in your upper back. And as you exhale, just letting that go. And then become aware of the muscles in your lower back. Just allowing your weight to be drawn downward by gravity as you allow the chair or the bed or the couch or the floor support your body. Become aware of the muscles in your chest. The muscles in your stomach area, your abdomen, your lower torso. Be aware of the rise and fall of your chest and stomach as you breathe in and out, continuing to breathe deeply. And then the muscles in your buttocks, your butt. Letting go of any tension there. And the muscles in your right thigh from your hip down to your right knee. And become aware of the muscles in your left thigh from your hip down to your left knee. And then your left leg from the knee down to your ankle. Letting go of any tension. Your left foot. And the muscles from your right knee down to your ankle. Calf muscle. And your right foot. Now your next breath, imagine you're breathing in through your chest, that there was a hole in the middle of your chest that went right into your heart. And as you breathe in, that air goes right through your chest wall into your heart. And then exhaling. And for the next few breaths, just imagine every breath you take goes right in through your chest into your heart. And each time your heart expands and grows larger. Filling your heart with love, compassion, gentle awareness, fully present, fully aware. And now begin to focus on what is the area of your life that you're having a hard time creating what you want, or an area where you feel stuck or blocked. Something you want to create, perhaps more wealth, a job, a healthy relationship, a partner, the release of chronic pain and illness, having more fun, whatever it might be. What is that area where you feel stuck, or some result you're trying to create that you just can't seem to manifest? Finishing your book, saving enough money to go on a round the world trip, whatever it might be. And as you focus on this area of your life, or this result that you don't seem to be able to create, this place where you feel stuck, that nothing seems to work to get you where you want to go, notice how you feel about that. What's your feeling about the fact that you don't seem to be able to create what you want in this specific instance, this specific area? And now, as you think about this, begin to scan your body from the top of your head slowly. Just become aware of your whole body as you move down. Where do you feel the greatest amount of pain, tension, or numbness as you focus on not being able to create this result that you want? And when you find that place, when you locate that sensation of tension, pain, or numbness, begin to focus your attention on it and notice, what shape is it? Is it circular? Is it round? Is it like a long, oblong 2x4 piece of wood? Is it more square? Is it like a spider or an octopus with tentacles coming off of it? What shape is it? And in inches or centimeters, how wide is it? And from top to bottom, in inches or centimeters, how thick is it? And from front to back. And does it feel more solid to you or more hollow? And does the surface of it seem to be more wet or more dry? And does it feel warmer, colder, or the same temperature as the body that surrounds it? And what color is it, if it had a color? And then inside this shape, this sensation, there is a feeling, an emotion. And see if you can feel whatever emotion or feeling might be inside the shape, the physical sensation. What's the emotion within that physical sensation? And just allow yourself to fully experience that as best you can. And now let yourself go back to the earliest time you can remember feeling this same sensation and this same feeling. Just going back in time. And when you get there, just notice, where are you? Are you inside, outside? How old are you? Are you alone or with other people? And if there are other people, who are they? And what's happening? Is there something you want that you're not getting? Or something happening that you don't want to be happening? What are people saying and doing? Or if you're alone, what are you experiencing? What thoughts were you having? What were you telling yourself? Was there a limiting decision or a limiting belief about yourself or about life, about relationships, about anything at all related to you that you took on at that time? Now, if you could go back in time and space from what you know now, the age you are, the wisdom you have, and coach this younger self, what would you tell yourself? What would you tell yourself about your worth? What new understandings or new interpretations could you give yourself about this event? What strengths or qualities might have you developed from this experience? And is there an insight about maybe the perfection of having had this experience associated with the block? And go ahead and coach your younger self from this perspective of where you are now. And as your currently wise adult self, help the younger you make a new decision, a new belief, not a limiting belief, but an empowering belief. What would be a new belief about yourself, about life, about relationships, about this area that you're focusing on that would empower you and replace this old limiting belief that may have been running you for years? And now take a moment and think if there's anybody that was part of that experience that you need to forgive. Might have been a parent, a grandparent, someone else, that for you to be free, you need to let go and forgive that person. And you might think words like, I don't like what you did. This has hurt me in many ways. I don't condone what you did. I understand that you were probably doing the best you could with the limiting awareness, tools, knowledge that you had at the time to meet some basic need. And I'm willing to now forgive you so that I can go free and live the life of my dreams. So see yourself forgiving anyone that you need to forgive. And now tell the younger you that you're always available if they need you, but you're going to leave now, but they can always access you because you love them and support them. And now let yourself move forward into the future to where you're 85 years old, you're wise, you're enlightened, you're the result of all the work you've done on yourself, all the wisdom you've gained. What advice about this presenting issue of being stuck would you give to your current self from the position of being 85 years old? So take a moment and say those words to yourself, to your younger current age self, from the perspective of your 85-year-old enlightened self. And now, come back to the current moment in time. Feel yourself sitting in your chair, having experienced what you experienced, having heard what you've heard from your wise self, your inner child having heard from your adult self. And just be aware of that place where you felt the initial pain, tension, or numbness. Just notice if it's changed at all. Sometimes it will be completely dissolved, sometimes not. Just notice it. And now think about your presenting issue where you felt stuck. How does that feel now? And when you're ready, go ahead and take a few deep breaths, and on one of your exhalations, open your eyes. You might want to stretch your arms and legs. Just come fully back into your body awareness. And then find your identifying and removing blocks worksheet, which is similar to the one I have up on the screen. And what I'm going to do is give you about 10 minutes to actually, maybe 8, 9, 10 minutes to go ahead and fill in that worksheet, what you noticed, what you experienced, the feeling you felt when you focused on the issue, where that manifested in your body, the early experience you went back to, limiting decision you might have made, the coaching you gave your younger self, the new decision you've made, and any coaching that you got from your 85-year-old self. If you don't seem to be able to access that, I will leave this up on the screen. You can simply write from that. And I'm going to start a 10-minute countdown clock. And when that's over, I'll talk to you a little bit about the experience. And so for now, I'll start the timer and allow you to write. It's really important to capture your experience on paper. It's part of the process of releasing it. Just go ahead, keep writing. Go ahead, keep writing. Keep writing. Some of you are faster than others. If you want to go to the chat and type in a sentence or two about where you went back to, or limiting belief you got in touch with, or anything else you experienced, as we have these 4 minutes remaining for others to be writing still, feel free to do that. A number of you have already started to do that. It's interesting to read what you are experiencing. I noticed several of you writing in the chat that you fell asleep at some point. That sometimes does happen. Sometimes it's your body just needing more sleep, especially some of you are tuning in from around the world where it's 2 and 3 in the morning. Also, sometimes it's a way of just protecting yourself from seeing something. The work's still going on unconsciously, healing still taking place. I see a lot of you saying, I feel a lot lighter, the band of tension's gone. I see someone saying, I went back to when I was 13, don't think I went deep enough, don't worry about that. We're gonna do this 2 more times. I see a lot of you had some feelings come up. Very odd how the tension is just dissolved. Good, that means it's gone. Someone writing about being beaten every day till 14. Sorry about that. Lifted a heavy weight. Been a lot of, I love the sharing. Thank you so much for sharing your experiences. And in 15 seconds, we will move on here. So one thing for those of you who may not have experienced anything, don't worry about it. That happens. I'd say normally about 98% of people have an experience that's healing and powerful. And then as you do it again a second or a third time, something happens. Sometimes it's just a little bit of developing that pathway back into the past. And it's just normal. So don't beat yourself up for that. I remember I used to teach guided visualization years ago to psychotherapists, and so they could use them with their clients. And I remember a workshop in Miami, and this guy said, "I don't see anything." Second day, "I don't see anything." Third day, "Oh my God, I see something." And so sometimes it's just a matter of building up that, for lack of a better term, imaginal muscle. Good, 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 good. Let's go to the next slide here. So a lot of you have been typing into the chat how you're feeling and your experiences. Appreciate that. Feel free to keep doing that. And gives me a sense of what's happening. I see a lot of people moving, feel lighter, feel calmer, great experience, lighter, cleansing, lighter, liberated, internal peace, complete. Anxiety is reduced, more open, peace. I feel great. I love it. One thing for those of you who may have had some emotions come up that might still be lingering, they don't feel like they're fully released yet. There is a technique called tapping, EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique. And you can go to YouTube, or you can go to Facebook, our Facebook chat group, Facebook group. We have posted a video of me teaching tapping and taking you through a tapping exercise. And the title of it is How to Use EFT Tapping to Accelerate Healing, which is what you see on the screen. And also there is a URL at the bottom. I don't expect you to copy that whole thing down right now, but it's in our Facebook book, or just go to YouTube and type in How to Use EFT Tapping to Accelerate Healing, plus Jack Canfield. That'll get you there. And it's about an 8-9 minute video that'll walk you through, it'll explain to you and walk you through how to tap. But basically, I'll put my screen back up. I think I can do that here. There we go. So we have 9 acupuncture points on the top of the head, here, side of the eye, under the nose, on the chin, on the collarbone points, and under the arm. And basically, when you're tapping on those, as you are focusing on the feeling, and you can say this feeling of sadness, or this feeling of anger, or this feeling of hopelessness, or this feeling of resignation, whatever it is, you can disappear very quickly those feelings. It's really a phenomenal process. So I don't want you to feel, stuck with those feelings. So you can go there and tap those out. Usually in 3 to 5 minutes, they'll be gone. And if not, you can do it for 7, 8, 9 minutes until it disappears down to a 1 or 0 in terms of its intensity. Also, you can tap on a limiting belief. So if the limiting belief still feels like it has any power over you, this belief I'm unworthy, or this belief I'm not smart, or this belief I can't ask for what I want, and you can tap on that until you get the intensity of that. You start with by saying, how intense is this belief? Well, I believe it really strongly on a scale of 1 to 10, 9. And then basically you tap on that belief as you're tapping, saying this belief of, and you're thinking about the belief, and you can get that down to a 2, 1, or 0. Then you can tap in the positive belief. Don't ever do that until you get down to like a 2 or 1 or 0, but then you can tap in, I am worthy of love. It's okay to want money. I'm smart. I can create a relationship I want. Money comes to me easily through my expression of myself, whatever it might be. So tapping is very, very, very powerful. And so that's a technique in case you're stuck with any feelings that might be there still. So some next steps for those of you that have done this, I'd like to invite you to share your thoughts and any epiphanies you've had in the Facebook group. The link will be in the chat, and also it's on the screen, facebook.com/groups/breakfree2020/. And you can, as many of you have been doing, you can talk about what you've been, I'd love some of the sharing you were doing, those of you who finished early. We'd love to capture that in the Facebook group and see how really universal these things are. They're unique, but they're also universal, the limiting beliefs we come up with. And so you'll know you're not alone. And also you'll get to see what other people have experienced. It's good to have that sense of community. And again, what did you learn about yourself? And I think, what are you going to do differently as a result of this? Are you going to ask for more things boldly? Are you going to stand up for your beliefs? Are you going to make those phone calls? Are you going to start writing that book? Are you going to try out for the team? Whatever it might be, I would encourage you to write it. There's something magical about writing something down. It actually, whether you're typing it or writing it with your hand, there's more neurons are being used in your brain. So it's a thicker neural network of intention, it builds a habit of thought. That's why repetition of affirmations, repetition of your intention, talking about your goals, all of that is building up. It's like it's a wider pipe, if you will. Each time you do that, for that energy to flow through and become more habitual on the positive side than it's been on the negative or self-limiting side. Also, if you haven't already done it, I'd love to have you complete your Wheel of Life assessment, as well as a 2020 goal setting guide. We're going to be talking more about goals next time. As we begin to release these limiting beliefs, it's easier to commit to and believe in the goals that you're setting. And I'll share with you, especially in the third call. And again, all these calls will be recorded and you'll have access to them for replay. That we want you to be able to set those goals. I'll be talking about some techniques for actually making sure that those goals become manifest, some of the techniques of goal setting and goal achievement. Today, we're focusing more on the blocks, and we'll do the block each time. You can go back if you fell asleep today, or if you want to take a different area of your life, which I suggest. Many of you had areas of your wheel of life assessment that were low. So maybe today you worked on finance, you can work on relationships next time, or you can work on career, or you can work on, self-nurturing or taking more time for yourself, etc. So whatever that is that you want to focus on. And there's the goal setting guide. There's 7 areas, and you can set 3. I always set 3 goals in all 7 areas for the year. And then you can talk about why you want it. Always your why is important. It's part of the motivation that will keep you doing it. And want you to join us for the next 2 calls. The next one is Thursday, that's this week, January 9th at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And then the third call will be Monday, January 20th at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And if you have friends or family that were not here and you think it would be valuable for them to be on the call, be on the webinar, the training we're doing, maybe colleagues at work, whatever, please let them know and, share the wealth, as it were. Let's see if there's anything else I want to let you guys know about before we break up. Again, make sure you go to the Facebook group, become part of that. And if you want to keep posting for a while in the chat, go ahead and do that. I see all kinds of things coming in, a lot of thank yous. Thank you for that. Mahalo. Oh, very good. Okay, well, thank you very much. I really appreciate you being on the call today. Anyone who's committed to do the work, I really want to support you back, because this is the most precious work you can do in your life. I remember a quote from Ram Dass, who was a spiritual teacher who died just unfortunately a couple of weeks ago. He said, the best thing you can do for your children is work on yourself. And if you're stuck, you don't have to be. We have all these tools today for getting unstuck and for manifesting our goals. So I want to thank you for joining us, and especially all of you people from all around the world, over in Asia, who are in the middle of the night. Bless you for getting up so early and being that committed. So thanks a lot. Again, once we close this seminar, if the posting is no longer available here, please go to the Facebook group and you can post there as well. And if you want to have your friends enroll, you'll see at the bottom of the slide, just go to jackcanfield.com/break free, and they can enroll for the next 2 calls. So thank you for joining us again, and I look forward to seeing you in the next calls. So for now, I'm signing off. Love you all, and take care.